We hold Billy too there. Okay, Bill, come
Ladies
on
and gentlemen,
around.
please hold it quiet.
Okay, that's the shot.
What up, world? Welcome to Hellhound Film Club. Thank you for ripping a ticket to another installment of our fine program. I'm your host, Cody Pope, and this is my co-host,
Danny Doms.
And as I truly am every time we do this, I'm thrilled to introduce tonight's special feature. First things first, tonight, as we are every Wednesday, we're live from the spot in downtown Nashua, New Hampshire, one of the Gate City's newest and most acclaimed entertainment lounges, featuring mocktails, coffee, kava, and more.
No booze here.
Check us out here for the Hellhound Film Club live events on Wednesday nights at 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, when doors open at 7 p.m. Now, for our special feature, we have the following selection: a classically acclaimed, super influential movie. Goes without really needing much of an introduction, but the original, the one and only, Planet of the Apes, originally released in 1968. So I don't even know if we really need to explain this, but do you want to just give them a brief synopsis if there is anybody that hasn't seen? Believe it or not, we did have people that had never seen this before in our screening
First
tonight.
of all, I'm blown away at that. First of all,
Sorry.
I have not seen the original Planet of the Apes, but most of them have seen the newer Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Never seen Tool live.
No, I haven't.
Which is crazy.
Only out of being poor.
It's kind of
I mean,
Next time I go.
First of all,
oh, absolutely.
the film was inaugurated into the National Film Registry, and the only way to get in there is that you had to have done something absolutely insane, like change cinematic history for that to happen.
Like
And-
Clerks.
Yeah.
Great.
You know, I had to slip that in there.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. But the fact that people haven't seen it also is exciting because
Yeah.
it's like that ability to be able to see it for the first time,
That's two movies
because
in a row with you guys that
knowing
haven't
the
seen.
ending like I do. Like, I know what's coming.
Yeah,
And the
that's
fact that
fucked
you've
up.
never seen it
That's
before and then you get to see that ending is
Yeah.
absolutely like incredible to me to like see that reaction, like the realization at the end of the movie, like on his face, like, wow, I'm actually back. Like, I'm
I was
here.
like, what?
This
Dude,
whole
at
time I've been
first,
here.
I was confused.
Like, I'm
for
back
a
on
couple
Earth.
minutes,
Like, that's just
lost.
incredible. And so to
Yeah.
be able to see like people's first reactions to
I
that,
was like, hold on.
never mind seeing like the absolutely like
And it's
tattered
like,
and destroyed,
whoa.
Statue of Liberty, the whole entire like,
Yeah.
iconic symbol of like USA. So like,
You gonna give the people a synopsis and tell them what it's about, or just fucking read off all the qualifications you studied before this?
before
Guy goes, did you know some facts that I discovered in the last few days?
in the last week and a half, that's called research, my friend. So synopsis was basically 4 astronauts were sent off into space at the speed of light, and based on theory that the speed of light, that time would progress faster in space than it would on Earth. So they traveled so many years of Earth time, which translated into, thousands of years later. And they land on a planet, and they believe they've landed on a distant galaxy to find a planet of highly evolved apes that have actually become the higher intelligence forms, and man has become the primitive beast. And the astronauts is actually the main astronaut, played by Charles Heston.
Charlton Heston, pro Planet of the Apes,
Yeah.
down most other things he was involved with in life.
And it was actually
I don't
so
know if
he ended up getting captured and proving.
He's the head of the NRA for like a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he was like a real like.
So he was able to manipulate that shit real nice.
Yeah.
He's already a filmmaker.
Yeah, he became like a real
Yeah.
fucking
A
piece of
plant.
shit. Yeah, yeah.
CIA plant. Something like that.
Yeah.
MK Ultra shit. Yeah, I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, y'all didn't know it. I never said those words. Allegedly MK Ultra. Even though that's been.
We're gonna have to get you a fucking third microphone. No one's gonna hear what the fuck you're saying. People watching the podcast are gonna be like, "What is going on in this background?" So I think first things for. All right. So now that we've got this, I mean, hopefully most of you guys.
People just ask that about his life. What is going on with this guy?
Hopefully everybody. Hopefully everybody. Hopefully everybody that's watching has enough pop culture awareness to understand what was going on. But honestly, this was awesome for me for a number of reasons, but I want to ask you first, Danny. Both of us had obviously seen this before, but I know for me it had been quite a long time, probably close to 10 years or so, I imagine, maybe a little sooner than that, but it's definitely not something I get around to watching very often. So for you, can you think of how long ago it was that you last saw this, and how do you feel about rewatching it today?
As a throwback, I must have been working at Blockbuster the last time I've watched
Let's
this.
go.
And well, if you know anything of anything, you know that Blockbuster hasn't been around for a while. So
Don't remind me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably say early to middle 2000s was probably the last time. So I'd say probably about 20 years since I've last sat down and watched it through and through. 100%, probably about 20 years. I mean, I've definitely caught it like on TV or something where I'm catching towards the middle of it or something and just like finish it up or whatever the case may be. But actually to sit down and beginning to end, it's probably been about 20 years, which again, just blows me away to sit down and rewatch it and then realize some of the things like 20 years ago that I realized about the movie, to think about like how quickly it still went right to those thoughts. I mean,
so is it kind of safe to assume that it held up or even was better?
Oh, it definitely held up, no doubt about that. A lot of the subcontext of the movie still translate, unfortunately, to this day.
I know.
I mean, the segregation inside just like the apes, like literally the segregation of culture and the segregation of like class. Like there was a hierarchy of the apes. There was a, this was the superior, being the gorillas were at the top because they were the fierce warriors. The orangutan was the intellects, which were, the high court and, the science. So they were like the middle. And then like the chimpanzees, the chimps, they made like bottom class, like made them the workers. Like they were the ones like sweeping around the town and like working the food stalls, and it was kind of crazy, like even to this day, that's how that translates, just in general. To see that, and on top, like the treatment of like just basically human beings in general, was just being generalized in there, with, the capturing, hosing them down and stripping them down to like just, the loin, basically stripping away the dignity of a person, hosing them down, the treatment of them in like jail. Like, I mean, the first scene, like they're in the jail, walks in and it's like, are you trying to say something? Oh, say something. I give you a treat. It was just like kind of like scary that even to this day that you can almost like translate that into 60 years later.
Oh, no, for real. It really is wild. I don't know about you, but I always, since we've started doing this show, I like to like take notes while I'm watching of just things that I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that beforehand. I don't know if you had any like noteworthy things that you wanted to mention, but I certainly had a couple. The first thing I obviously feel like I have to mention as like an incredible bias to myself is the interesting story behind Rod Serling's involvement. So hopefully most of you guys know, especially if you're a Cody Pope fan, but Rod Serling was the creator of the Twilight Zone and is one of the most phenomenal writers of our time, even far beyond his work in television. And so around that time in the early 60s, Rod was actually hired to pen the original draft of the script. And so one thing I think a lot of people don't pick up on all the time is the fact that it was actually based on a French novel first. And so really Serling's adaptation, Serling was adapting the novel into a theatrical screenplay. And there was a bit of contention with the people hiring Rod Serling to do the script. And so they eventually brought somebody else on to redo the script. But because he had done so much of it and used so many, or because they used so many elements of the script that he drafted, they had to give him a writing credit, even though it's not really the script that he had developed. And so
He's actually been quoted joking that it's an actual Wilson script.
Yeah.
Because so much of what he rewrote was actually used. Do you know the original ending that he wrote? Originally, Nova was supposed to be pregnant with Taylor's baby.
Damn,
and Taylor was supposed to die at the end, and she was supposed to ride off into the sunset, kind of giving that hope for the new humanity of civilization, of like this wild woman, like intelligent man, like baby, like going off and possibly like creating. But they wanted more of a like wow shock factor.
Yeah.
And they were actually just sitting in a deli talking about it.
That's
and that's where they came up with the Statue of Liberty idea.
That is true. It was very rad indeed.
It was a rad time.
But there was a lot of push from Fox. That's why they ended up changing it, because of the like the whole like interspecies, like alien kind of like breeding idea. They didn't think was a little too far-fetched.
That's what made this watch interesting, is that
I feel like it was so ahead of its time, but also in its time at the same time. I feel like it was ahead of its time, but then in its time at the same time. And it's like the other movie we watched last week, Matinee, where it's like a portrait piece of the times in a way, but then also it can be like relatable like to current times and like oppression, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Those vibes I got for sure. But I also have such bad ADHD and like am so addicted to smoking cigs that like the beauty of having the screen outside was huge for me. Because like
your man left the movie 7 times to go smoke cigs
and watched it through the window in reverse
and watched a backwards projection of
it.
It
was amazing. And then what we should do is play the song backwards outside, see what happens. Dayton comes.
We have to get him fucking wireless mic too.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna try to get.
We're gonna have to put speakers out there so he has
sound.
I know, right?
It's gonna be fun, man. The summer, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna bring people.
I
like the idea of outdoor seating though. Like, what if you mirrored like 2 projectors, one projecting it the same way on both sides? Like, you know what I'm saying?
You're making it so hard for me to edit this fucking podcast, 'cause now I gotta cut all this shit out. This motherfucker.
Yeah, Hold on. All right, let's go back to topic.
There, look,
Namaste.
namaste. Another thing that I want to talk about. I don't know why this fucking camera got all fucked up. Another thing that I feel like I want to talk about that kind of like comes in right off the rip. Wow, is the score.
Look, remix.
The score, right
Oh.
from the jump,
Oh,
is just like very different than a lot of other movies at that time. It almost felt like there was things overlapping at times. There would be these like heavy drums, but then like the more like classical stuff that you would expect. And the contrast really like creates a lot of tension early on, where it's like you know, like if you hadn't seen it before, you're like, oh, this is like a survival thing. Like the music very much like puts you in that mode of like you are here for survival.
Like,
I definitely agree with that. I definitely believe the score 100% matches the feel that they want to visually give you.
Yeah.
Like they want you to like feel that like moment of suspense. Like this is like an oh no, you shouldn't do moment. And then like when the drums come in, like like you just know it's like, all right, this is supposed to get your heart racing. This is supposed to make you feel, you know, it's funny. It's supposed to make you feel a little bit of anxiety. It's supposed to make you feel the things that you don't want to feel.
Seriously.
There were scenes that made me feel like damn, like just strong scenes, man, that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting kind of more of like a sci-fi, like almost not like comedy, but like I wasn't expecting the seriousness of it, you know? Like it was interesting to me because I was expecting a more far out like idea of sci-fi, and it was more of like a timepiece and sci-fi.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, definitely.
I feel like I thought I knew film, and like the past two movies we've watched I haven't seen, man. And it's like they're both really relevant to even right now, even to these relatable to these times. So it's like good shit. Thank you for having this.
That is honestly though, but that's what is such a great thing about film, right? So I tell people all the time, I've been collecting movies my entire life.
Yeah.
Like I've literally just been a movie junkie since I was a child, like burning out Roger Rabbit VHS tapes and shit.
Roger
like
Rabbit,
eventually like having a Blockbuster membership, going to Suncoast Video and buying anime that you like couldn't get anywhere else. So I've been in the movie shit my whole life, right? But it wasn't until I want to say it was 2009 or 2010. We'll get back on the movie shit, I swear. I used to go every week on new release day. So it was Tuesday at one point, and then it switched to Friday.
Tuesday, Circuit City, baby.
So I would go to Walmart because Walmart opened they were 24 hours. So you could go like when it was Tuesday, you could go Monday night at like 11:30 and watch them put the shit out. And so then I would go. Yeah, exactly. And
at GameStop as like a kid in high school, it was like midnight release, bro. That was popping.
Yeah, Tuesday morning I would go to the gym, lift, and then the Circuit City was right next to the Planet Fitness. So when I got out of the gym, I just walked right next door.
Bro. Talk about a shout out to a blast from the past, Circuit City, bro. R.I.P.
For real. So on one of my movie shopping trips, I ended up at it was either Target or FYE, one of the two.
He just goes to the mall.
I know, so crazy. But dude, I was just looking for something to buy, and I saw a copy of Repo Man. I don't know if you guys.
I'm unfamiliar.
Oh, so Repo, you'll love that. Yeah.
Yo, you didn't think I was gonna know that, did you? You didn't think I was gonna know that?
No.
Repo Man, and I'll tell you right now,
I've heard of it.
That was incredible. Absolutely loved that.
So I mean, on a level.
That was right after he had done the original Gone in 60 Seconds.
Don't fucking spoil it.
Fuck.
Don't worry, we'll have already watched.
Dude, I think I did that.
We'll have
last week, too.
already watched it by the time this episode
Yeah,
comes
that
out.
was,
I think
he released
so.
that right after
Bro.
Yeah,
Gone in
Alright,
60
guys,
Seconds, the
so-
original.
it's fine.
Wait, the
You're
original?
learning how to podcast while we while we do it.
No wonder
But
everybody
let me
hates Netflix
let me finish telling this story
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
fucking 17th minute.
Right.
So I found a copy of Repo Man,
Yes, sir.
and it came in this like insane like slip cover. It was all like green and black and shit. And I just was like, well, like I just thought collector shit was cool anyways. So I was like, oh yeah, dude, like I will definitely get this. I brought it home, and while I'm like looking at it, I noticed that there's like a big C on it and like a little number on the binder. And so it's
Like
from
real.
it's from the Criterion collection. I had no idea what that was at the time. I was like, what is this? So I like go on the internet, I start looking it up.
Yeah.
And Criterion is this like movie archive service that's been around since like the 70s, and
Really?
they collect and restore the world's most famous movies. And so there's over 1,000 movies in the Criterion collection at this point, and there's stuff where it's
Is that
like
currently now that many?
Yep.
Wow.
Over-
So this thing.
So this is still
like-
every couple of months new movies still
Dude,
come out
I've never
on
even known about that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very cool. So that's gonna be your
remarkable.
best.
If you can make
quality?
it through the top 100, if you make it through the top 100, you'll be so diverse in movies. It would
Yeah.
blow your
So
mind
these are
away.
all, like
Blow
the
your mind
best of the
away.
best.
Yeah, and it's
And
it's
then
like
highest quality.
it's a huge it's like one of the they do all restorations of stuff.
Shit.
So like
Yeah,
one of the
totally.
famous things that they're famous for, I wish I could remember the name of the film
It's called
off my head.
Criterion?
Criterion
Okay,
collection.
Criterion.
And
I gotta remember that.
one of the things that they're really known for is there was this old Indian film from like I want to say the 30s or 40s, maybe a little later than that. And because of the way that Bollywood was working at the time, this
I've
film
always
like
found that whole culture to be interesting, like Bollywood, like that thing. Like I'm unaware of any. I haven't watched much of that at all, so like I'm wicked unfamiliar with that. But if that type of stuff's in there, I want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like all that. So, no, and I mean this is just these past two movies, bro. Have been really educating me on real good quality like stuff here, because like I watch good movies, but a lot of the stuff I watch is like, you know, like really edgier, like, you know, SLC Punk, Train Spotting, just stuff like that.
love
like,
those though.
What they're great, but like I mean they're
Train-
very
Train Spotting actually just
controversial.
recently joined the Criterion collection.
no way.
They just put
I wanna
they
get
just did a
that.
4K Blu-ray of it.
What, dude? What a movie! But anyway,
Yeah.
you know, like
When they
Like-
have the baby dead in the
oh
crib.
my
Right?
God, dude.
Yo, what a good movie.
Oh, so great! Such good memories.
What?
No, when they lock him in the room and he's like just tripping out hard,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm
We do get on in here.
Yeah.
In there for a minute.
Guys like, yo, I got something to say. I just don't want a microphone or to be on camera.
I don't want a microphone or be on camera, but I own the place.
Teaching.
Always wanted to be the center of attention. And as I got older, it was
You're like, fuck. Fudgy.
Well, you guys better hope everybody can fucking hear you guys.
Hey guys.
So long story short,
Hold on.
I found out that Repo Man was in the Criterion collection. I went online, looked up what the Criterion collection was, and realized that while I had spent the first 20 years of my life collecting movies, I had no idea the grand scope of cinema that was available. And so ever since then, I've kind of been on this weird mission where it's like, I don't really care about new stuff that comes out because I know it'll be there. I keep wanting to go backwards and see how much stuff I missed.
Dude, so it's basically in like chronological order as well by like number as far as like
So if you go on the website, you can look at it chronologically,
really.
but because it's all like licensed movies,
It's different.
all the spines are cataloged by number,
Okay.
and basically that number just indicates how early they were able
Right.
to release their version of it.
Okay. So there's
Um,
obviously a certain copyright amount of time they can't do that until they remaster it.
yeah. So like dude, so you'll find like silent films from the 1920s. You'll find French noir films, but then you'll also find like Armageddon is technically in the Criterion. Is weird. RoboCop is in the Criterion collection. I have the DVD copy of RoboCop from Criterion. Like, so it's like a lot of people think that it's just like movie snob movies, but it really is just like incredibly important movies, like
Movies that
cinema,
changed cinema.
cinema that has had an impact
Yeah.
for one reason or another. So now that I just did an unpaid advertisement for a Criterion collection, make sure you guys fucking
Go check it out.
go buy some movies and tell them I sent you. If this podcast blows up one day, I will be invited into the Criterion closet. That's my
that would be amazing.
that's my goal.
That'd be amazing,
Dude. No, so not all right. We're
Now you're
gonna
gonna plug
get off.
podcast?
I know we're gonna do a whole nother show after this. I
Plug
gotta
the
get
podcast
off the
next.
Criterion shit. I swear I'm not a fucking paid advertiser for them. But if you follow them on YouTube, one of the cool things that they do is they have a room that is just floor to ceiling of their entire catalog.
We can talk about that.
You said cut that out.
Flip it.
Get off my back. Like, what is that?
Ah, fucking. All right,
God damn.
I'm moving on.
Please.
No. Why? Is that like a meme? Is he memeing?
He could be shred. Thought some.
I'm just gonna leave this all in.
It sounds great, dude. I love it. Leave it all in.
This is what you see is what you fucking get with this show. So
That's like
That's what I tell
enjoy
my
it.
girls. I'm like, what you see?
No, Rogan is goddamn Jamie. Jamie, pull that clip up for me.
Yo, I love Rogan.
God damn, we're pitching Rogan. We're pitching Criterion.
I love Rogan. Fucking Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
I love Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
What you know? No, I don't like him. Steve-O. He used to be cool, and he's like, man, I'm too cool now. Steve-O, he's like, dude, get sober, dude, but then I'm gonna talk shit about everyone. That's Steve-O. That's my impression. Plug to Steve-O, what up? Shout out to if we're not cutting this, I just want to do my Steve-O impression, bro. I mean, like, just really like the movie, dude. Really psyched, bro. Check out my podcast, dude. You know, like Steve-O dot whatever, blah blah blah. Plug. And that was my Steve-O impression. What up, Steve-O? Shout out Shizzle out here. Shizzle smokes. What up? Yo, I thought Planet of the Apes was a timepiece film that was monumental for its time.
Now you want to go to the movie.
I thought
Now he wants to talk about the movie.
I thought that it gave me a heavy feeling of relatability when being chained down by the man. Really and lightly and firmly, I believe that this timepiece was firmly and grasping on people being just oppressed by the system in its deepest, darkest ways. Especially like the fire hose piece. I mean, I was outside doing like a safety check, you know, to make sure everything was good. And yeah, man, I saw it just without audio and I was like, yo, that's brutal. So like, and I believe there was like a piece in a certain newspaper at that time relating to some riots or something right around that era. So it was probably really relatable in that time. So yeah, that was even though I had no audio on it, that scene really was like pretty fucking twisted, in my opinion.
Public service announcement.
Public
LSD
service
is a
announcement.
hell of a drug.
Yeah, don't do it. It's bad.
And now for our paid sponsor by Dare.
They did real good. They're like, here's what every drug looks like.
This episode sponsored by Domino's, who did not give us anything free.
They're like, let's produce some reoccurring customers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So remember that movie we watched?
Yeah, you remember that movie?
It was called Planet of the Apes. It's from 1968. The last thing we talked about was the score at the beginning of the movie and how good it was. Another thing I had wrote down was the remarkable cinematography. And I feel like that's like an easy thing to say about a lot of movies, right? To be like, wow, like the shots were really beautiful. But there was like a couple things of note in this, right? Like there's one scene early on where it's like clearly a transitional shot, but they just have this like mountainscape with like the sunset coming down, and like the color palette in the sky is like perfect. And it's just one of those things where like you know at this time that they couldn't they couldn't manipulate that shot. They had to wait and get that shot at the right time of day. Like they just had to be ready for the sun to like be in that position. And there was just a lot of shots like that really like it was like, damn dude, like this really is so much more like artistic than people even talk about it from that. It's like it's great to talk about the story, but just like the components of how it came together is just like truly remarkable.
Well, like you said, back then, way before computers, CGIs, being able to manipulate things, and
Yeah, it's almost all practical.
Their schedule was created around that time.
Yeah.
So like they had an idea of like sunset's going to be at this time. So at this time we're going to be shooting this shot because this is the only time we're going to be able to get this type of a shot.
Yeah.
So like to like have it planned out, to be able to capture it in that brief moment, because you miss the shot. It's not like you can rewind it and retake, like, take another shot at it.
Yeah.
You only get so many shots before you run out of opportunities to be able to capture that. And that's kind of like the joy.
I mean, a famous philosopher once said, "You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow." I think that was Confucius, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was it. You may have to Google that.
One of those famous philosophers.
But I absolutely agree with you. Like cinematography back then, like being able to capture that moment.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they didn't have that post editing like we do now, where you can legitimately change the background of the sky with a single push of the button.
Yeah, exactly.
You could film at night and make it look like it was filmed in daytime if you wanted to.
Well, and that almost goes to like an idea that we were, and this harkens back to Cody Central from this week. I forget what the day. What day is today?
Saturday's the 23rd. I know.
So go back to
Friday.
Go back to episode 47 of Cody Central if you want to know what we're talking about. But we just had two people from the film industry on the pod on Monday, and one of the ideas that we were talking about was the idea of how do you figure out when it's time to transition from still photography to videography, and that idea of like it's one skill to capture a perfect scene. It's another thing to follow a scene and continue to make it perfect. And that was just something that was done so outstandingly through this. And this kind of leans into my next point too. Not only was the cinematography and like the shot choices and the score all resounding, can we talk about the prosthetics in the
you mean
masks?
the most impressive part of the entire movie?
Exactly. Think about like I almost said this like during the movie, but I was like trying to bite my tongue. But think about everybody that was in this room is vastly younger than when this movie came out, and all of us had terrible, shitty Halloween costumes as kids. And yet in 1968, they had prosthetic ape masks where the mouths moved while the people talked.
Well, that was revolutionary for the time.
Yeah.
That was actually John Chambers. He was the prosthetics guy on that, and they actually gave him an honorary Oscar the following year for his prosthetics, because it wasn't until in the 1980s that the Oscars actually recognized makeup. So like this, like that's part of the reason why it's in the National Film Registry. Is because of that prosthetics. Fox was so concerned about it that they actually ran a test like short film way prior to the movie ever being. It was a $5,000 budget, and they had to prove that they could do it. And in the actual short film, it wasn't Taylor, his name was Thomas, which is they ended up changing. But because the prosthetics was so good in that short film, they ended up approving a $5 million budget for it, which they well exceeded. I mean,
which like 2 or 3 of that just went to Locken and Charlton Heston too, I bet.
Well, ironically, he was actually not the first choice. They actually had Burt Lancaster that they were thinking about bringing in,
which would have been so cool.
And he said no because he thought that it was a childish idea, and that it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, science fiction definitely, like that was like around the same time as like Ed Wood almost, like Plan from Outer Space and stuff. And so like I think science fiction had a lot even Twilight Zone, you know, going back to my Rod Serling love affair, like Twilight Zone fought CBS almost all the way through 5 seasons. Like every year they were just fighting for their life to stay on the air, and like 1 or 2 bad episodes could have killed them.
There was actually like a lot of little things about this movie that like was slowly like killing it. Heston filmed the entire 3 months with the flu, and actually helped to his character because the character was supposed to be kind of like weathered and beaten down. And he actually wrote in his book saying that like having the flu actually made his character for this even better, because he had the flu and they were filming like Lake Powell, like Upper Arizona, Grand Canyon area. I like
how you said Arizona. That sounds like a cool place. Chicka Arizona.
So oh shit, I'm gonna
got to give it to your mama and your papa.
So they but he felt like that added to like the character, because like he was supposed to, and like they actually like made sure they got a lot of like close-ups of like his face and stuff, because of the flu, like his eyes were sunken in a little bit. They wanted that really weathered look, which he really did a great job of. I mean, through the whole movie, he just like by the end, like when he's coming out of the back of the cart when they're escaping, like you can almost look at him. And there was said that it was called the ape diet, because like a lot of them with the prosthetics and stuff, they couldn't eat solid food. So they had to drink like milkshakes and like really soft food.
Dude.
So people were losing weight left and right.
And it's funny to like think about, you know, one of the lines that they brought up in that like court scene when they're like, oh, his rags smell, and all I could think about was like, nah, the inside of those ape masks probably smell horrendous, dude. Just like leather and prosthetics glue and whatever else.
So you want to hear a crazy story about that actually that you're talking about? So there's a story where Roger McDowell was so in character, he finished filming, got into his car, and drove home in his prosthetics. So all you saw was a monkey driving down the freeway.
God, that's like one of the rare times in human history where it's like, why didn't anybody have a camera then?
Right? Where was all this documentation? Then?
For real. Oh,
but that's what I'm saying. It's just funny. Like, but like those actors like were living in those prosthetics back then. They were living in it so much that they've actually talked about like at lunch, that they were segregating at lunch. Like the chimps all were
Yeah.
like, in costume. All the chimps were sitting together. All the orangutans were sitting together. Like legitimately, they were segregated. Like nobody told them to do this. Like that's what they were saying. Like nobody ever told them to do this, but they just naturally did it themselves based on like the characters they were playing, because that's how much they were in character.
Yeah.
Like, which I think is crazy, because like if you think about it, like we talked about the segregation in the movie, and it actually like translated into real life. Like that's
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
made the movie more realistic, honestly.
For real. Probably like gave people a lot to think about.
Oh, man.
And there was actually a joke, because they spent so much time in the prosthetics that at the film premiere that people didn't know who each other were.
Oh, that makes sense, dude.
Like that was the first time to seeing them outside
Yeah,
of makeup,
and everybody
So they're,
probably
like,
changed in other places.
so they're sitting there like all of a sudden they're on like the red carpet for the premiere, and they're like talking to somebody, and they realize based on their voice,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're so and so, like you played this character. I didn't even realize that it was you. Like, I mean, obviously, like a couple of the characters didn't have prosthetics on, so it was like, oh, I know who you are. But like a lot of the ape actors, like nobody knew who they were, had no idea what they looked like. So like at the premiere, it was just like this whole shock factor. And
Yeah.
I think that would be hysterical to record.
That would be wild. All right. Well, our time is running thin here, so I want to run through a couple more things with you.
Absolutely.
So the first time you ever saw this, do you remember? Were you at home? Was it on TV? Was it on VHS? Were you at the video store? Were you like what was the first time you saw this like?
First time, vividly remember watching this movie. Like I said, I was working at Blockbuster, and I just had this obsession with, because I could rent for free.
Yeah.
I had free rentals every single week, so
So you watched it at home?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I sat down with a buddy of mine that I was living with at the time. We sat down, we watched it. I don't think he had as much of an interest in it as I did.
Yeah.
But that ending locked me.
Right.
Like, I mean,
so I asked you that to preface my next question. For somebody that has never seen this before, what is the best way they could see this for the first time?
I would say probably the best way would be on big screen.
Okay. Because obviously I know I'm biased in the sense that like I could watch every movie in the theater, right?
Right.
But there's some movies that are comfortable to watch at home, or they're kind of built for like a more intimate environment. And then there's some movies that are like very encompassing and big. And so I
think
kind of
with
had
the
the same
score-
vibe. Like you need speakers.
With the score that's in there, the score is very much a part of that movie.
Yeah.
And like really helps the feel of the movie. And I just think like, now don't get me wrong. I mean, if you come watch it at my house, I've got a surround sound that will make up for the movie theater. I mean, if you like have the capability, you know what I'm saying? That like really have that type of experience at home, that's great.
Yeah.
But like sitting down in a theater seat, you know, that buttered popcorn, big screen in front of you.
Yeah, this is a popcorn movie for sure.
Like to me, that's just like a whole experience. Like there's just movies like I can just be like, okay, I can wait till it comes out and see it when it gets like at home.
Yeah.
And then there's movies where I'm like, you know what? We're gonna go see this in the theater. That's gonna happen.
Right, for
and
real.
This is like one of those movies, if they were to have like a re-screening in the theater.
Which, yeah, they definitely do too. Like, I don't know how frequently, but I feel like at least once a year, there's got to be an opportunity somewhere to go see this on like 35 or something like that.
Gotta be. I mean, this is just a great classic cult film.
Yeah.
That has an absolutely tremendous following, and like that movie has projected into the future of cinema in different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned, John Chambers, the prosthetics on it. He did another prosthetics real quick, like that is super famous in cinema, that like is iconic, and people are just like, what? He's the guy who did the Spock use.
Wow. Talk about iconic.
So like, and that all came from this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without this, you wouldn't have the Spock ears, which millions of people do not, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your Comic-Cons and all your, like, your Star Trek like things and stuff like that. Like, it is so iconic, but without this movie, we wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
And that's like, to me, like, super important. Like, this movie changed cinema history.
I agree. So before we go to our closing segments, I want to ask you, what would you rate this out of 5 stars? As if this was your letterboxed.
Oh, this is without a doubt as a 5.
5-star.
Yes.
Okay. So
To me,
to you, perfect movie across the board.
it hit marks. It hit like a lot of like social things during that time. And on the same note, like I said, absolutely changed cinema. It is a movie that will go down forever, that pray to God that, this type of like history is still around in 200 years.
I know, seriously.
Well, if it still is, it's going to be a movie that's going to still be talked about 200 years from now.
Yeah, you are not kidding.
And to me, that is a criteria of like hitting a top tier to me, like a movie that's going to resonate. Here we are 60 years later. That's huge to me. Like, resonation is a big thing. And also, like I said, haven't watched it in 20 years, sat down and absolutely fell in love with it all over again.
Right. I agree.
So what's yours?
I honestly, I would say this is like very particular, but I'm torn between either a 3.5 and a 4. And the only reason I say that is because I do kind of wish there was more use of the settings. Like, they had that beautiful location, and then you could tell that all the stuff, the jail cell stuff and all that was like clearly soundstage.
That was all filmed at the Fox Ranch.
Yeah. And
all the interior stuff was definitely done on soundstage.
I wish they just had a way to utilize more of that. And obviously I hate that they killed off the homie from the pack like right away, and then they don't really explain, like, they show the scar on the other guy, but it just felt like it was kind of like, oh, we gotta explain this shit.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun and so enjoyable and such a work of, I'm going 4 stars. 4 out of 5 stars for me.
I think for me, some of it is also the improv in it that helped it out. I mean,
it's just it's phenomenal, dude.
Like the whole like court scene with the, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That was improv the day of filming.
Right.
Get your hands off me, you dirty apes. Like, the dirty apes part wasn't even like in the script. That was added afterwards. And those were the first words that he said first time to the apes in the entire movie.
Yeah.
So it was like that was like raw emotionally, how he, like, the way that he said it, and that's why it ended up actually staying in the film. But like, some of the improving in it, like, to me, also helped it out because it really actually made the movie too.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So, guys, that was Planet of the Apes, 1968. Phenomenal body of work. This was such a fun watch. Thank you for coming down and doing this with me.
Thank you for having me as always, man. I appreciate you.
This was a treat. So, we're going to read through some screenings and event listings coming up real quick. Some of these may have passed by the time the episode airs on YouTube, but because we do these live on Wednesdays, we have some people here that were watching the movie, and so we want to encourage them to check some stuff out. Danny, do you feel up to reading some of these off with me?
Sure.
I know the screen is kind of far away, but I'll kick things off. So as we were talking about on this week's episode of Cody Central, we had filmmakers Tyler LaPlante and Jaina Cipriano. And this Saturday on January 24th, there's going to be a cast and crew screening of The Imposter Syndrome at the Capitol Theater in Arlington, Massachusetts. So as I mentioned, friends of the show, Tyler LaPlante and Jaina Cipriano, are part of the crew that brought together this surreal talk show where host Jaina Cipriano battles her inner demons, sparring with artists, storytellers, and so much more. It's a 5-part series that's equal part hilarious, raw, and uncanny. This ride turns self-doubt into spectacle. Immediately following the screening, there's going to be a Q&A with the cast and crew. So if you're able to check that out and support, please support the homies. I love independent filmmakers. Tyler and Jaina are both super cool, and The Imposter Syndrome is on YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube, but seeing it in a theater capacity is just unbelievable. So make sure to go support the homies. Saturday, January 24th, The Imposter Syndrome at Capitol Theater in Arlington, Massachusetts.
Sunday, February 1st, Sands of Iwo Jima, presented by Nashua Public Library at NPL Theater in Nashua, New Hampshire. Sunday, February 1st marks the return of the library's Sunday Cinema Classic series, free to all to attend in their cozy 75-seat downstairs theater. Watch the 1949 war epic starring John Wayne with a room of fellow film enthusiasts, old and young alike.
Last year, Nick and I went to a couple of the Sunday Cinema Classic series, and it's really cool. So I'm sure you guys have caught wind. We're based here in Nashua, New Hampshire, and we're right here in beautiful downtown. So one of the cool things about Sundays was the farmers market was on Sundays as well. And so the farmers market was in the back parking lot of the library. So if you timed it out, you could go walk the farmers market and then walk up to the library and go catch the movie downstairs. And it's just a cool way.
That's a nice way to spend the day.
Cool way to spend a Sunday afternoon, and it costs you virtually nothing.
Yeah. That's a really cool little setup right there.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're with your loved one or even alone, just chill.
Exactly. You just need something to do.
Check it out. I mean, usually farmer markets have some good food.
Yeah.
You know.
One time, Cody Pope and Byron G played the Nashua Farmers Market.
No kidding.
Yep. We did like a 2-hour set that day to all 13 people that were walking around. But
we gotta make it happen again.
It was a good challenge for us, though.
I bet.
Sunday, February 8th, Mixed Blood, presented by Cinematography Films, is going to be at the Film Forum in New York City, New York. Cinematography Films presents their 4K restoration of the 1980s vicious gang war film from director Paul Morrissey, featuring the debut of iconic actor John Leguizamo. This is presented as part of Film Forum's ongoing Tenement Stories from Immigrants to Bohemians film program.
Sunday, February 8th, The Defiant Ones, presented by Nashua Public Library at the NPL Theater in Nashua, New Hampshire. On this week of the NPL's Sunday Cinema Classic, they're screening The Defiant Ones, a 1958 classic about 2 escaped convicts chained together who have to learn how to work together to evade capture. That's a great movie, by the way.
I know.
So good.
Yeah, seriously. And I love the library because they keep the menu nice and in variety. Sunday, February 5th.
Crazy lineup.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna lie. This is crazy lineup.
A crazy switch up, dude. We're going from The Defiant Ones to the next week, Sunday, February 15th. Mary Poppins, presented by the Nashua Public Library at NPL Theater. On this week of the NPL's Sunday Cinema Classics, they're screening Mary Poppins, the 1960s pop culture icon from a story of a turn-of-the-century London magical nanny who employs music and adventure to help 2 neglected children become closer to their father.
Sunday, February 22nd, Sweet Smell of Success, presented by Nashua Public Library at NPL Theater in Nashua, New Hampshire. On this week of the NPL Sunday Cinema Classic, they're screening Sweet Smell of Success, the 1957 classic with Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis, where a powerful Broadway columnist coerces an unscrupulous press agent into breaking up his sister's romance with a jazz musician.
The screen is really far away. That's why it was hard to read. And I also wanted to take a moment to shout out a couple theaters that are just constantly doing fantastic work. Coolidge Corner Cinema in Cambridge, Massachusetts is one of the best movie theaters in the entire United States. They constantly have a fantastic programming schedule. They constantly are bringing special guests through. They're one of the only, this is a fun fact. If you were a fan of the recent movie One Battle After Another, that just came out, so they filmed that in VistaVision. There's only 3 or 4 places in the world that had VistaVision projectors, and Coolidge Corner is one of them.
You and Tyler were talking about that last week.
Yeah. So Coolidge Corner Cinema is a company, a theater that just truly puts cinema first, and you can almost always find remarkable screenings. One that I'm going to, I think it's actually next week. And of course, you guys have probably heard me talk about this, one of my favorite movies, but they're screening Roger Rabbit with creator Gary K. Wolf doing a pre-show or post-show Q&A. Like, that is the kind of that's the kind of stuff they do at Coolidge Corner. Like, they had Ethan Hawke there, dude. They did like an honorary thing for Ethan Hawke, and he like came and talked about how that is one of his favorite theaters in the country.
Roger Rabbit was like a staple movie growing up.
Same. So I had to shout out Coolidge Corner Cinema. I also want to shout out Brattle Theater. Brattle Theater is also in Cambridge. It's another historic cinema in the Boston area that does phenomenal screenings. They have a great programming schedule. They have such a variety of stuff. This will probably come out afterwards, but this Friday, they're doing an afternoon matinee showing of Batman 89. Just like at 3 p.m, just random, like that, like only the coolest places could pull that off. You know what I mean?
That's like gold right there.
Exactly. And I also want to shout out the Wilton Town Hall Theater in New Hampshire. Wilton is about 30-ish minutes from Nashua. The Wilton Town Hall Theater is actually built in what is like the Wilton Town Hall. And that building has been there since the 1800s, virtually unchanged. And there's like plaques about all the different kind of events and people that used to come through this building. And now it's a public theater. It has 2 screens. It's almost like it's smaller than this room that we're in. Each screening room, but it's like a full projection thing. And every
town hall that they turned it into a 2-screen
movie theater.
Wow.
And every showing is free. So they have a concession stand, and you got to pay cash to buy concessions, but the screenings are totally free.
Yeah. So
dude,
running off of concessions. Basically.
Yeah. And I'm sure because it's like the town building, it's it's like a historic, but like,
yeah,
even them, they screen great movies, dude. So one of my favorite movies is The Player. I don't know if you've seen that. It's from like 1992. It's a very like Hollywood movie about Hollywood. Tim Robbins is in it. He's like a Hollywood agent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's not a movie that's like in theaters very often. So when I saw it was screening there, I like told Nick, my fiance, I was like, I need to go see this. It was so I'd been looking for an excuse to go to this theater, and that gave me the excuse. The night that I went, we didn't know anything about like the cash concession thing. So we just like showed up because we just wanted to catch the movie. We were going to go get concessions, and we found out once we like waited in line that it was cash only. So we were like, neither of us has cash. Like, we only have card. There's like not an ATM. Tell me how the guy was like, dude, just let me know what you guys want. I'm sure I'll see you again. He was just going to give us whatever, like all our food and drinks on just the honor system that we would come back. Like, he just cared about movies and we were like, nah, we can't do that. Like, we appreciate that, but it was our first time there, so we didn't want to. But so
if you did, you probably go back.
Oh, I'm definitely going.
That's why, like,
I'm literally might go back this week if the snow isn't too
he was
crazy.
taking the chance on, $18 to get you to come back again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
And that night, dude, the left theater was The Player, what we were watching. The right room, 50th anniversary of Jaws.
wow.
So it's like there's almost always cool movies and there's such a variety. So please, 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 if you're in the New England area, check out Coolidge Corner Cinema, Brattle Theater, and the Wilton Town Hall Theater. Wherever you are at in the world, if you're watching this podcast, if there's a special film screening you want us to talk about or a special theater that you want us to shout out, please shoot us that information. You can send stuff to us right now at codycentralshow@gmail.com. That's the email for my other podcast that we do every Monday, live stream, now co-hosted by my dear friend Danny Dimes. But shoot us an email at codycentralshow@gmail.com. Let us know any info about screenings that you have. Let us know anything about upcoming events related to your local theater, anything of the sort. Or if there's just a great theater that you think deserves to be shouted out, let us know. We want to keep spreading the word. Last but not least, before we keep things running, I'm going to keep bringing this up on every episode because I feel like this would be a really cool thing to make sure people are at. The New Hampshire Film Festival is October 15th through 18th throughout downtown Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Submissions are open now, and for all the details, you can visit nhfilmfestival.com. I also just wanted to throw out a couple recommended film and cinema podcasts for anybody that wants to deep dive far beyond the world of Cody and Danny, diving into movies with all of our fun weirdo friends. A couple podcasts that I'd like to recommend. I don't know if you've heard of any of these, so feel free to butt in, but one of my favorites of all time is called You Must Remember This. It basically every season is a different theme, and they're intricately researched podcasts about the secret and or forgotten histories of Hollywood's first century. Really, truly phenomenal stories that I just would never have known. And especially you're a driver like me, dude, that stuff will just keep you engaged for weeks on end. If you want something a little funnier, a little more in with a visual thing, Joe and Ronan Talk Movies is on YouTube. It's the stand-up comedians Joe List and Ronan Hirschberg. They do as the title implies and talk about movies.
Are you
But
sure?
they always provide hilarious takes on classics and the unexpected alike. And lastly, this podcast really means a lot to me. It's called One Handshake Away. It was hosted by cinema icon Peter Bogdanovich shortly before his passing. One Handshake Away is a collection of unprecedented long-form conversations with some of the most acclaimed directors working today. Quentin Tarantino, Ken Burns, Greta Gerwig, and others pay homage to the influence of the directorial legends of the past, bringing listeners one handshake away from the icons of Hollywood's past and present. Anybody that knows anything about Peter Bogdanovich, he's been in this, rest in peace, but he had been in the cinema world since literally before Citizen Kane. And he got into the cinema world as a journalist. He would write reviews and do stuff like that. And he eventually got into directing and making movies. And so he's just had this powerful impact on cinema forever. And him having these conversations with other filmmakers about their favorite filmmakers and all the people that inspire them is just it is surreal. It's very touching as an artist or a creative. And so we love that you guys support Hellhound Film Club, but we also want to do our part to spread the word on the film community at large. And so that's where we're at. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another installment of Hellhound Film Club. Every week that we do these, we're going to keep up in the production ante a little bit. We're kind of figuring this all out as we go, but we're having a good time doing it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Huge thank you to our sponsor, The Spot, right here at 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire. Come down here. They're open 7 days a week. We're here for a good time, not a long time. And make sure you follow them on social media.
I can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
And as we mentioned before, live events. We're here every Wednesday screening a different movie every week. The podcast episodes are going to come out closer to their original theatrical release date, but you can come here on a Wednesday and always catch a free movie. So come out, support the wave. We're doing something new. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's late. We hope you enjoyed the movie with us. Much love.
Love you guys.
Good night. Good night,
Peace.
friends.